The goal of these discussions is to introduce rally goers to some of the MOA regional coordinators who will be volunteering at the rally this year, and also some rally committee chairs to provide some background and information on what goes on putting together one of these rallies, especially one this size. I hope you had a chance to view the first video with Frank Florio. If not, check it out. Frank has an interesting backstory on how he joined the MOA and was handed a BMW Anonymous book that I think you would really enjoy. My name is Mike Secor. I'm the regional coordinator for Texas and the registration chair this year. And today we'll be talking with Johnathan and Allison Gifford. Johnathan is a regional coordinator for Mid-South region, including Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, and part of Kansas. Allison is the volunteer committee chair. She's the person you're going to want to get to know if you want to volunteer at the rally. So first of all, thanks guys for taking time to do this. Can you tell me a little bit about yourselves, how you got involved in the MOA and how that led to, volunteering and regional coordinator and all that kind of stuff?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Well, and to introduce myself again, Johnathan Gifford. We live in Oklahoma. We're in Oklahoma City to be proper. But we've been all over the country. We spent time in Nebraska. We've been up on the East Coast in Maryland and southeastern Pennsylvania. We spent some time in Tennessee, and now we made full circle back. We're both from Oklahoma, and I should say, I'm born in Maryland, but I grew up in Oklahoma. She is born and raised in Oklahoma, and I grew up here in Oklahoma. So we finally made our circle back. How I got involved with the BMW MOA, that's another interesting story. So I just had gotten out of college. I've been thinking about a new car. And then my dad decided that he had sold his Gold Wing and was an 83 Gold Wing he bought out of the box in 85. And he never took it on a major trip, never a big trip. And it was his goal was to take that bike, him and mom, go someplace and go on a big trip. So I go with him looking at motorcycles, and in Allison, I see this BMW F650. The price is right, and I'm sitting there thinking, he's getting one. I could get back into this, and that could count as that new car, even though it's really a vehicle. And I went home and sold it to the ex-wife as a new vehicle, and and somehow it all worked. Yeah, I know she's raising everything, but anyway. So the fun, hilarious part is that him and I were, we bought these in the fall of '97, and that year we had gone for a New Year's Polar Day ride with a friend of ours who worked with my dad at American Airlines in Tulsa. And Bruce said, "Hey, I'm going to this BMW rally up in Montana." BMW rally. Okay, that sounds cool. And I started doing the math, started doing the things. I went and joined the MOA, started figuring out more. I'm like, "Dad, I think we can do this. I think we can do this for, X number of dollars." And he's like, "Let's go do it." So I pulled off 2 weeks of vacation. He pulled 2 weeks of vacation. Amazing. I got 2 weeks of vacation as somebody straight out of college. And that's how we ended up with the MOA. That was our first rally. And when we get there, I mean, we were new to this, and we spent 2 weeks getting up there and getting back. Another friend of my dad's who worked with him at American Airlines rode with us. So there's three of us. And then, of course, Bruce, we ran to him and his wife and two kids. They were going back and forth with us on the way up and on the way back. And we had a great time. And both my father and I looked at each other and were like, we got to do this. We got to do this every year. Well, the next rally I went to was in 2000. I couldn't do 99 because I pulled too many vacation days in 98, changed jobs. 99 comes around. Well, I didn't have any vacation time. So there was just not enough time to go up and do that. But 2000, so and at the 98 rally, I got involved with the chain gang. And of course, Steve Johnson, the founder of the chain gang, him and I got to be pretty good friends over those 2 years. And then we got to the rally in Midland, Ohio, or Midland, Michigan for the 2000 rally. And we got into a little competition at 50-50. And this is really where I probably started my volunteer effort. Him and I would basically, during our period of selling 50-50 tickets, we'd raise easily 2,000 or 3,000 between the two of us. And this is back in 2000. So that's a lot of money when you think about that. I mean, yep. So basically that afternoon pot was like $7,000. People were like, yeah, let me buy some 50-50 tickets.
So do me a favor hold on just a second, because I got a email from Paula Fitzer, our rally chair this year, saying that one of the areas they need volunteers for is 50-50. So how do you make volunteering to sell tickets fun?
You have to make it a competition with others. You have to have somebody you're out there and you're trying to figure out who can get the most money. But the other trick is, how do you get old guys to part with their money?
Well, I have the
We are
answer.
those now.
I have the answer for that though. That's how we got our son. Started out with Nathan helping me with volunteering with stuff. Was I would take the cute baby with me going around selling tickets. Everybody
Yep.
wants to hand over money when they see a cute kid trying to sell a ticket. So it's a good way to also get younger generations of your family involved too, get them to know other people. But it's all about having fun.
So that's great. So Allison, question for you. Volunteering to manage volunteers. How did that happen? I mean, I think, I'm an old EDS guy, so Herding Cats TV commercials come to mind. What's up with that and how did that come about?
That was accidentally kind of a stumble into. I've been doing kids' activities for, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 years. And what? West Bend? No.
No, Missoula.
Which one?
Or
No,
Great Falls.
Yeah, Great Falls. Great Falls. Coming back from a no rally from COVID, Tanya at the MOA office was supposed to be the volunteers chair, and she needed help. It was her first rally to actually be present at a rally instead of just providing support from the office. And she asked me if I'd help her sit in and do that. And I kind of just took it over from there because she had so many other things to do for the actual office staff position for her that I kind of started doing that. And I enjoy it. I get to see lots of different people.
So one of the questions that I know Johnathan and I have been getting from, the regional coordinators around the country have been getting is from people that haven't signed up to volunteer yet. They know they want to volunteer, but they don't know when they're arriving. They don't know what activities they're doing till they get there, that type of thing. What do you tell them as far as where do they go? How do they find you? What do they do when they want to volunteer and they haven't signed up ahead of time?
Absolutely. First, that's just fun. We want everybody to enjoy themselves first and foremost while they're at the rally. And lots of people do that too. They don't know what seminars they might want to hear until they see the book, or, they might have something else going on, family around, whatever. So it's perfectly fine for people to come volunteer once they get there and see what accommodates their schedule. We always have openings. There's not going to be something that we can't find something for somebody to do if that's ever a concern. So, I'll be in the lobby of the vendors booth this year. So I will be out there, I believe, from 8 to 5, and I can be around longer if people are hanging around, but we have all kinds of categories. You don't have to have a special skill to do anything. This is about having fun and getting to know people and being a help so that this rally goes off without a hitch. So it's just a lot of fun to do.
Good deal. So rough number, how many volunteers does it take to put on a rally this size?
Ooh. I don't even know. I would literally have to go back and pull some of my spreadsheet data and see, because I've never looked at a final total. Because things vary. This year things are changing up a little bit. So there's a few categories that in the past we've had to have a lot of people to pull off, like the gear store, because that includes unloading, selling, security maintenance, all that pack up. And there's some changes going on. So that was one of my biggest categories for needing the most amount of people. That and registration are always the two biggest ones.
Yeah, I've got 12 people per shift, 3 shifts per day. So registration. So Johnathan, you've been volunteering at these things for years, and I know this year you started putting together ride routes, local information, working with Allison on volunteers and things like that. From probably the end of the rally last year, you started working on this stuff. We were talking just before we started. You said you want to talk a little bit about some of those routes and some of the things you've been working on. So what's happening with that, man?
Yeah, so Ted, with the executive director of the MOA, he's worked with a company. So there's a lot of guide programs out there. You got Gaia, you got Reaver, you got Eat, Sleep, and Ride. There's a whole bunch of them out there. But the MOA has entered into a contract with a company called Ride with GPS, and I have, first I was kind of skeptical of it. I started working with it last fall when Ted's brought this up and said, "Hey, look, we're looking for somebody to do rides and routes." I was used to doing things in base camp, and then, but as I've been working with this, I've been like, wow, this thing is quicker, faster, easier than base camp. not only can I turn around and create my routes quickly and efficiently, I can hand them to my buddies and give them the link to the route, and they can download it in whatever GPS file format they want, without having to worry about whether or not it's going to work on their Garmin, whether it's going to work on their TomTom, whether it's going to work on this phone app or that phone app, because all the standard formats are able to be pulled down, and they don't have to even use Ride with GPS to turn and get and to use that for navigation, which is really great. So Ted was like, we want to create a couple things. We want to get some day rides going. We want to get a couple regions to ride in the area before they come to the rally. So I set up one that's over on the West Virginia backbone area. It's just to the west of the Skyline Drive in Shenandoah National Park area, and it's a great area. It's over there in the area where the Cass Rally used to be, where the West Virginia Club used to put the rally on. And there's actually a great, where they were at was, and this is part of the area we go into, is where the Green Bank Radio Telescope is located. And if you've never seen that, you swear to God, you just drove upon a Star Wars set, because it's like, this thing's huge. This thing is unworldly. It's like nothing you've ever seen, and it's really cool to drive through. But the roads in that area are really great. I remember the first time going to Virginia, I hated it. This was 2003. I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, I'm tired of sitting behind a coal truck or some dump truck or some truck that's going 15 under the speed limit, no place to pass, and all these great curvy roads. And I'm like, I'm done. Let's go. Let's just go to Charleston and call it a day. Well, after we moved up there and we were in Pennsylvania, in Maryland living for a while, I went to the Cass Rally, and that's where I found about all these great roads, literally from the Potomac at the border with Maryland, all the way down the state line area between West Virginia and Virginia, all the way down to 81, Interstate 81 area.
81,
it's a great area to check out. And then the other one, when we were up there in the Pennsylvania area living, was the Delmarva region, which is Delaware, Virginia, and Maryland. And it's basically the eastern shore of the Chesapeake Bay. And there's a lot of great stuff in there and a lot of great riding. I mean, I even had a conversation with Bob Hennig about this one time, and I joked him, like, how come nobody rides on the eastern shore? And he looked at me and goes, I don't understand either. It's a great place to go ride. There's nothing out there, and it's all scenic. And it is. I found you some great rides, some great routes up there. I've got some spurs that take you out to end of little clusters of islands, as well as some across some of the other ferries and some of the other stuff. And if you are really adventurous, not to mention have the money, because I think it's a little pricey, but the National Park Service will let you take your motorcycle and run down the beach of Assateague Island, all the way from basically Ocean City, Maryland area, all the way down to Chincoteague, Virginia, where the Wallops Flight Center is at.
So
then we also,
question for you. When folks get there, they want to have a one-on-one conversation with you about this and the routes and things that are out there and available, where are they going to find you?
Okay, so Ride with GPS is definitely the first place, and it will be in the program. But the second place is the good old hospitality booth, and another Steve Johnson, not the same guy. Unfortunately, the first Steve Johnson Changing guy, we lost him a few years ago, and bless Steve. But this Steve Johnson has taken over hospitality this year, and him and I have been working on these day rides. He's given me a couple. He's given me some tips on some of the ones I've created. But we've got a couple great ones. We've got one that's going west out to Lake Anna. At the far northwestern end of Lake Anna, there's about a half a dozen restaurants out there, all 4 stars or better on Google. So it means you're getting some good restaurants. Same way with Yelp, the good stars, including a couple wineries and cider places, which is, I was like, wow, cider place, that sounds pretty cool. And it's actually got me intrigued. We got a small GS ride that's going to go to the east of the rally site. It's mostly just gravel roads. There's a couple areas. I don't think it's going to be anything technical. So if you've done your Build Your Do Dart level 1, level 2 class, you should be fine. I mean, basically good gravel roads, well maintained. A lot of these roads I found were actually through bicycle routes, especially those guys who are doing a lot of gravel riding today. We've got some that are going to go around to the birthplaces of 5 presidents or the homes of 5 presidents. And then we've got another one that's going to go down to Jamestown and come back over to Yorktown, where basically birth of a nation right there. I mean, you got Jamestown where, the first English settlement, and then you got Yorktown where the British basically had to secede or surrender, or I wouldn't say surrender. They just had to quit.
Yeah.
And so it's a great place to go see that. We've got a couple other little rides running around places too as well. So yeah, we got like about 10 rides. Chad Warner is also going to have a special ride as well. I think it's like a charity event.
Yeah, we're going to be talking with him later this week. So he's got the Pay It Forward Day ride that he's putting together. So we'll get some details on that as we go forward.
Yeah, and we'll have that ride on there in that collection as well. And we'll get you that link, and you can put it in the description below.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Any final thoughts or anything you want to let people know about when they get to the rally?
Just come, have fun, come find me. If you haven't already signed up, we'll get you something to do. You'll get to know people and just have a good time. This is the family that you choose.
Yes, it is. And I tell people if they don't come find you, we'll make sure that you find them and sign them up for something.
That sounds good too.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.